When we are struggling with a porn addiction, the one thing that I have found to be true is that the thing that really hurts our spouses the most is the lie. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Road to Recovery YouTube channel, a video series to encourage men who are battling porn addiction. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you guys about how you can tell your wife about your porn addiction. There are three main areas that I want to address. The first being the lie, the second being personal growth, and the third thing is forgiveness. So let's start with the lie. Some of you might know that my wife, she was the one who discovered my porn addiction. I had never confronted her and told her that I had a problem with porn. In fact, it had come up in the past, and I pretended that that was something I didn't struggle with. So I really did go out of my way to deceive my wife. And some of you might be able to relate to this. And the one thing that I have found to be true through my experience and other people's experiences as well is that the thing that really hurts our spouses the most is the lie. When we are struggling with a porn addiction, it's not the porn addiction in of itself that really hurts our wives. It's more so the fact that we hid this from our wives, that we were lying to them all along about our struggles with porn addiction. So the first thing you should be aware of, if you are conflicted about telling your spouse about your porn addiction, is the fact that you're actually hurting them more by continuing to lie to them. So you can't use an excuse that you don't want to hurt your spouse by telling them about your porn addiction, because you are actually hurting them more. Now, the second point is personal growth. You really want to be the same on the inside as the outside, because the one thing that I have learned is porn addiction thrives in the darkness. So the longer you keep this addiction bottled up, the less you're going to be able to grow as a person, because you will not address this problem on your own. So you have to be the same on the inside as the outside in order to see any personal growth. And my third point is that of forgiveness. If you continue to lie to your spouse, you're robbing them of the opportunity to forgive you for the wrongs that you have done to them. You need to be able to give your spouse the opportunity to forgive you. You will be able to move past this issue. Really, I just don't want you guys to make the same mistake as myself. Because honestly, the biggest mistake I ever made was not telling my wife about my porn addiction. So now that we've talked about those three things, I want to discuss how we can tell our wives about our porn addiction. Because if I could do it over again, I would sit my wife down and tell her that I had been lying to her and that porn addiction is something that I've struggled with. So if you guys are contemplating telling your wives, you can do something like this. Sit your wife down and tell her that you're struggling with porn addiction. If it's something you've been struggling with your whole life, tell her about your upbringing and your struggles. Reassure her that she's not the problem, that the problem stems from your past or whatever it might be. Present to her a plan. Show her that you're going to be a man of action. By this point, you should have already contacted a coach or a counselor or a pastor, 12-step group, some sort of recovery plan where you can take action and take control of your porn addiction. If your wife sees you doing these things, that in of itself is going to assure her that you're taking this very seriously. And if you do book a counseling session for yourself, you can invite your spouse as well. You can tell her that you know this is a lot to process, but feel free to join me at my next counseling session, and you can talk about those things together with the aid of a counselor. And you're going to need to allow your wife to participate in your recovery as well. She might have some things that she's not comfortable with you doing at this time. So you're going to need her to speak freely about these things so she can feel assured, so she can feel safe. This is all going to be new terrain that you two are traveling through. So you need to be able to talk about these things and work through it together. But just because your wife is being active and participating in your recovery doesn't mean that she's responsible for your recovery. There's a difference between these two things because it's your responsibility to break free from your porn addiction, not her responsibility. You're going to have to work with a coach. You're going to have to get an accountability partner. You have to do these things for yourself. Your wife isn't supposed to be your accountability partner. So don't get these two things confused. But if you guys take these things that I'm telling you seriously, you will be in a much better place than I was when I first started my recovery. Own your addiction. Remember, the lie hurts more than the porn use. Remember that you want to be the same on the inside as the outside. Remember that you do not want to rob your wife the opportunity for forgiveness. I truly hope this inspires you guys to make the necessary change in your life. Confront your spouse today. Stop putting this off. And as always, if porn addiction is something that you guys are struggling with, feel free to reach out to me. I want to be able to help you guys. Subscribe to my channel, and I will help you out on your road to recovery. I'll see you next time.